So Donald Trump is a bully who empowered a whole bunch of other bullies, and then he went out and created a whole cabinet of bullies. And the one thing about bullies is they love to dish it out, but folks, they cannot take it. And I've seen it my entire life. I have seen people stand up and flex and act all tough until someone gives it back to them, and then they just crumble. And that's Donald Trump all the way to the bottom of his cabinet, all the way to the bottom of the last follower that he has. If you give it back to them, they absolutely collapse under that pressure. And Kash Patel, if I was in MAGA, would have to be one of the biggest disappointments for a lot of reasons, because he's the guy that's supposed to be going after everybody now, and he's failing miserably. And he's out here whining. He's whining about this 8647 thing that's been going around, because how dare they? How dare they ever insinuate anything against Donald Trump when they themselves, first of all, they're the ones behind January 6th. They never have no room to ever criticize any of us. But listen to Kash Patel here whine about this 8647 thing, and then we're going to talk more about it.
And that's just a bonus. Do you know how many copycats we've had to investigate as a result of that beachside venture from the former director?
Is that right?
Do you know how many agents I've had to take offline from chasing down child sex predators, fentanyl traffickers, terrorists, because everywhere across this country, people are popping up on social media and think that a threat to the life of the President of the United States is a joke and they can do it because he did it? That's what I'm having to deal with every single day. And that's what I'm having to pull my agents and analysts off, because he thought it was funny to go out there and make a political statement.
The 86-4.
Notice how he's like, well, they think it's okay because Trump did it. That's the entire point. This has been Donald Trump's game the entire time. Do y'all remember when he shared this disgusting image right here? You can see he shared this of Biden hogtied and gagged in the back of someone's truck, and they thought this was funny. They found a way to absolutely write this one off as well. He was just retweeting something that he found humorous. You snowflakes can't take it. No, that was disrespectful, and they would never call Trump out for it. And that's the whole thing about him. They never call him out for any of his wrongdoings. This guy gets a pass from MAGA every step of the way. They find a way to justify it. And what's so frustrating about this is I've been arguing politics my entire life, and I have argued with Republicans, and it feels really weird now because all of a sudden it's as though I'm over here, and sometimes I feel like I'm arguing for the Republicans' argument of 10 or 15 years ago. It's a weird place to be in because they were the party of limited government. They were the party of, they didn't want government interfering in your lives. They didn't want the government to be able to tell companies what they could and couldn't pay or charge for things. And so now they're all about the government just being in everyone's life. And it feels really weird because now I'm over here saying, wait a minute, that's not what you all was supposed to be for. You were the ones that always warned us that universal health care would lead to socialism, and that would lead us to a dictator, but yet you sit back now and you cheer on a dictator and you're perfectly okay with it. And for years we heard MAGA sit and whine and talk all about Epstein. I know so many people that made it their entire identity. They wanted to know what really happened to Epstein, and they told every one of us that we should absolutely question the official story. And I'm not even saying that you shouldn't question it. I'm not saying that. But they're the ones that said that you should. They're the ones that said it was wrong, that Epstein killed himself. And now they got Kash Patel in there. Here's the golden moment for them to prove everything they've ever suspected. But what's he do? He says, no, they're not going to release it, folks. At the end of the day, he goes a long way around here, but the moral of the story is they're not going to release the files. Take a look.
There are.
The Epstein thing, you dealt with Maria, you said, as far as you know, he killed himself.
I'm telling you, he killed himself.
The other thing on the internet is the Epstein files. What's the answer to that?
The answer to that is the same as everything else. I'm not going to withhold information from the American public ever. But I'm also not going to rush to get it out there in a format in which they can't rely on it. So on the Epstein matter or any other matters, we are diligently working on that. And it takes time to go through years of investigations, years of political maneuvering, and years of cover-up to get the American people what they deserve. And that's what I'm going to give them on everything.
Yeah.
Okay, I've made this point before here on the channel, but I'm going to say it again because I want to keep driving this point home. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but let's just say for a minute that I was. I would like for the MAGA troll who's still hanging in there at this point in the video to just play along with this. You think that there was something up with Epstein. You think someone may have had him knocked off. You don't believe he killed himself. Even Dan Bongino used to sit and tell you that he couldn't have done it because the bars wasn't high enough and because the sheets weren't strong enough to hold him up. So you believed all of that. and you believe that someone else was behind it, and you've heavily insinuated that it could have been one of the Clintons. You've went along with that every step of the way. And then Donald Trump gets reelected. If Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton had anything whatsoever to do with it, do you really think Kash Patel would just sit here and stop and say, no, I can't show that to the American people? Do you think Donald Trump would have pumped the brakes and said, well, I can release the JFK files and I can release the 9/11 files, but I can't release the Epstein files. There's stuff in there that's fake news. Do you not see how it makes him look guilty as shit? Do you not see how that it makes it, the whole thing look fishy this way? That the very people that told you that the official story was bullshit is now telling you that it's okay, it's official. What you were told by the people we said was lying to you, now we say it's true. And that doesn't raise a red flag to you? You don't look around and say, well, wait a minute, something's up. I mean, I have seen some MAGA people that are upset about this. They're upset at Kash Patel over this, but there's a lot of people who have just went silent on this one because all of a sudden they realize just how bad it stinks that the guy who sat there the entire time and said there was something up with it gets reelected, and now suddenly we're not going to talk about that. That one could hurt some people. Well, trust me, if they thought for 1 second it could hurt a Democrat, they absolutely would not be able to hold it back. But getting back to this whole 8647 thing, I don't want to see any harm ever done to Donald Trump. I don't want to see the guy become a martyr. He already is to these people. He's already a cult hero, and I don't want to see him glorified any further. It would be sickening enough, okay? It's already sickening enough, and it would be even more sickening to see him remembered as some sort of hero. All I've ever wanted to see was Donald Trump held accountable for the things that he's done. And I do believe, I'm of the opinion that he should spend the rest of his life behind bars. But I don't want to see bodily harm come on him. I don't want to see anything happen to him. I don't want to see him lose his life, because then he would become a hero, and he doesn't deserve to be one. But this idea that suddenly, oh, I can't believe these people are saying this about Trump. I can't believe people are insinuating this about Trump. You all are the party of January 6th. You're the party that was all about sharing every hateful meme about Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi and Paul Pelosi. You had no problem with any of that. And then someone gives it back to you. Don't look to me for any sympathy, for me to feel sorry for you. You're just getting a dose of your own medicine. And sometimes people deserves it. Sometimes people truly deserves to have that dose handed back. I know that we always are the ones that tries to take the high road, but sometimes the high road ain't there because they refuse to ever get on it. You can't go high when they go low because they have no bottom. I've said that from the beginning. These people have no bottom. There's no low they won't go to. So when I see that roll across my news feed, do I give a flying fuck? No, I don't. I don't care how bad it hurts Kash Patel's feelings. I don't care who stands up and says, do you all think you need to tone the rhetoric down? As long as you're the party of January 6th, you never have room to tell any of us to tone a damn thing down. Until you distance yourself from that and you call out that and you call out the cruelty of Donald Trump, don't say a word to any cruelty that comes back your way. You can't get on that high horse. I'm never going to let people do that. But folks, I do want to thank you for sticking with me here on the channel. We're cruising on up toward 800,000 subscribers, and I do believe we can get there. I believe we'll hit 1 million before the end of the year, so it's really growing, and I truly appreciate all of you. So, yeah, if you ever want to check me out over on Patreon, I do a lot of more non-political content over there. We sit around and talk about, movies and documentaries and my favorite books and my favorite birthday meals and things of that nature. So if you ever want to take a break from this madness with Brando and talk about other things, that's what I do over on my Patreon. And I'm also writing on Substack and enjoying that. But yeah, I have no sympathy for these people when it comes to that. When I see that roll across my news feed, I'm not one bit offended. I'm not one bit worried about who's offended by that, because they're just getting a dose of their own medicine.